of my crafty friends. Welcome and thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome to Pretty Pink Craft Room. Thank you to all of my previous subscribers for joining me on my channel and coming back to get some inspiration and some creative ideas through our paper crafting. Thank you to anyone who is new and joining my channel for the first time. Hopefully you may find some inspiration here as well, and I would encourage you, if you like what you see here, to please like, comment, subscribe to my channel to join me for even more projects coming up in the future. So for today's projects, we're going to be doing a folio that does not require any chipboard and is very quick and easy and simple to make. I found myself making this project because I had some gifts to give out, and as a procrastinator, of course, I did not have the gifts ready. So I knew I had to make them fairly quickly, and this was something that I came up with that I thought the person might enjoy, and it doesn't look like I had to make it on the fly. It looks like something that was put together very nicely and took a lot of time and effort and love in creating it. So let me show you what I made. I did two different types because the first one I wasn't as happy with it as I was with the second one, and so you'll see what I'm talking about as we get into the project. So let's take a look and see what these projects look like. So here's our first folio, and I'll quickly go through these so that you can see what it looks like, and then of course we'll make one together. If you find that you like this project, you might stick around for the tutorial coming up at the end as well. So let's take a look. The overall folio measures 5.5 by 7.5, so great for 5 by 7 pictures or even smaller pictures that you may want to put in the project. This was some paper that was more inspired by ballerinas and dancers. I wish I knew what the paper packet was. If I do find it, and I can find it, I know I purchased it off of Etsy, and if I can find it in one of my old orders, then I'll definitely link it in the description box, so that if that is something that you're interested in, you can probably purchase it. I do know that I purchased it for a very long time ago because, as you guys know, I am a paper hoarder. So I have paper that has been with me for quite a bit of time, and I am just now having an opportunity to use it. So this is what the cover looks like, and you'll see that it's just those ballerina slippers as the focal feature of the page, and then I just put some ribbon up top and ribbon up bottom. So this front part has a flap that lifts up, and let me try to get some of it in frame. I'll go up and down so you can see. So this is the top part of the flip, and this is a tuck spot where you can put something underneath. And if my nails allow me, let me see if I can get something to show you. Okay, so yes. So this is the tuck spot where you can tuck a photo in, or tuck something else in that you'd like to put there. And then this one, the bottom part, has a tuck spot as well. So that's what's under this front flap. And if you notice here, this is very flat. There's no gussets here, and so that's something you may want to note as we get into the next folio, and you'll see how I made the design just a little bit different. But that's the front flap, and then I just tied some seam binding to keep it closed. So when you open it, it looks like this. So this is the inside panel, the first page. It just has two pockets here, and then these are just little tags that you can pull out if you want to add pictures or journaling or something that you want to do there, you can. Those are the two pockets. This is an insert page, a flat page that just has more designs from that paper, and I did a lot of collaging with this paper because the way it was laid out, I thought it was so pretty that I thought maybe collaging it instead of just using one sheet of the same design actually brings it out a little bit even more. So that was just preference. You can choose not to do that with whatever paper pack you're choosing to use, but I just thought the collaging would look really nice. So this is of course one side and another side, and then when you flip it over, here is the back side of it. And then this I just added as a tuck spot. I cut her out using just a die that I had handy, and then I just added some of the tags and the ephemera inside the little tuck spot here, and then added the word discover, which is all part of that paper pack too. In the middle here is a pocket at the bottom, and then so I have this inside the pocket, and this actually holds this flap down. So here is a flap up at the top, and this is again another tuck spot here that you can put something inside, and then this is the pocket, and then when you close that, then this kind of keeps that flap closed there. On the far right side, these pockets were part of the paper pack, so I used those and just inserted some of the tags that came with the paper pack as well, and added that on to that back page. And then this is the back page. This closes in, and then of course you can add a photo here if you so choose. And that's pretty much how the folio goes. So what I did not like about this is I did not like that I did not put gussets in it, because as you can see, it's pretty it wants to stay open because there's so much inside that it wants to stay open. It doesn't lay flat, and that's not really my preference. So I was sad that I didn't add a gusset here and a gusset here so that it could stay, you know, closed and everything. So when I remade another one, I'll show you the next one. This is when I actually added the gussets. So this is the second folio, same pretty much style with the flap on the front, and then this is just a picture from the paper pack. It says dance is the hidden language of the soul, and then at the bottom I just added another word there, imagination. Added some lace and some ribbon to the front of it as well. And as you can see with this one, even though it has the same design with the seam binding closure, you'll see that there are actual gussets on each side. And these gussets are not very big or anything, but it just really allows for that space without it feeling like it's too tight and too compressed. There is actual room inside. And so since I was making it over, I decided to add another feature. I wanted to add a pop-up feature. So when you open this, there is a pop-up feature. There is what is called a garden box, and I'm going to try to zoom out just a little bit to see if you can see that. Okay, so hopefully that's a bit better and you can actually see that. So this is a flower box that's added into the flap there, and I just added a photo of the ballerina dancer, mounted that, and then added flowers as her background, so that when you open it, again, you open it and this is what pops up, and you're able, that is able to be featured right there. So that's what I did in this first part too, is I added just that flower box so that you would be able to see or be able to see her as a focal point. And then you close it down, and that lays pretty flat when you do that. So when we do the tutorial, I'll show you how I did that flower box, and that lays pretty flat on the front. And then when you open it, everything else is the same design. So on the left you have the two pockets with the pull-outs here and here, and then on this side I added a tuck spot and put some more tags inside. On this side has the design, and it has another feature of a ballerina there. And then you open it and there's even more collaging and more pictures there. And then I added two more tuck spots here and here with just those circles that come in the paper pack too. On the right, when you open it up, same feature of the pocket at the bottom. I added two of these journaling cards to hold the flap down, and when you open it, it has more of these designs from the paper. Let me get that in frame for you. More designs of that paper in there. The other thing I did with this one that was a bit different is I made this into a top pocket. So this folds up, but this is also a top pocket. So you can pull it out, and there's just a little booklet here that can be used for photos or journaling or what have you. So right up top here is just a pocket here where you can add that in. And so that's what I did with that top part there. And then on the right here is just more of those pockets that come in the paper pack, and I just added some tags and some of the ephemera inside those pockets as well. And then that closes, and this is the back here, or the back side of that flap. And then this is the back of the folio, and this is back to the front of it. So two different designs here, one with a gusset, well, not entirely different, one with a gusset and one without. I prefer the one with the gusset, but you may prefer the one that's just like this. It just is a bit more chunkier looking, but it still can close, and it still is still very cute, but it just, you can see it won't lay flat. But this one will actually lay flat because I've added the gussets here. So the tutorial I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the ones with the gusset. So if that's not something you want to do, then you can just kind of skip over that portion and just, you know, kind of keep moving. But I'll show you how I did the gussets, how I designed the entire folio with that, and of course how I did the pop-up feature with the flower box there too. So I'll show you how I did that as well. So let's go ahead and get started with our tutorial. Okay, so I have brought out my scoreboard so that we can go ahead and get started with our project. I have done some pre-cutting to kind of, as I normally do, to try to help move us along in the project. And again, we're going to be making this one together, and I will include how to make this pop-up feature in the middle, and then also I'll also include how to, you know, include the pockets, all these pockets here, this flip up page, and as I was demonstrating it, I realized that another thing you could do is you could choose to actually leave this page flat and just make it a full page. I just thought it added more interest that it was when it's a flip or a folded page, because you know you get these different designs on each side, and so you can choose to just leave this page flat and eliminate the scoring. I'll try to remind you of that as we get to that page and start scoring it and everything. But there are of course options of things that you can include and things that you might want to eliminate as you make the project and make it your own, and change up the design a little bit. So let's do that one. So the first thing I did, because it measures 5.5 by 7.5, excuse me, I want to get those measurements right. The first thing I did was cut my base sheet, and this sheet measures 5.5 by 7.5. So there's no scoring on this sheet in itself. It's just 5.5 by 7.5 that I cut it out with the paper pack. So this is cut and for the right measurement, so I'll leave that to the side until we're ready to assemble. So on your left side panel that you want to attach to this page, you want to cut you a page that measures 5 7/8 by 7.5. So that one's 5 7/8 by 7.5. And because I am doing the gusset on this one, I am going to make 2 scores on it. So my first score is at 1/2 inch. And then my next score is at 7/8 of an inch. So that's just before the one on your scoreboard. Some people don't like to work with the eighths, but this one gives you actually a 3/8 inch gusset. So that gives, again, a little more space in the folio for you to add these different things inside. So again, I took my 5 7/8 inch by 7.5 inch sheet and scored that at 1/2 inch and 7/8 of an inch. So those are those 2 scores there. So we'll go ahead and fold this down, crease it, And by the way, for these base pages, I am using, I found some 80-pound cardstock at, I think it was Hobby Lobby. So this is what I'm using for this. You don't have to. You can use a 65-pound, because once you start matting it with different papers on it, it's going to increase the firmness of the paper too. I just use these as the base because I'm not using the chipboard. So I thought it add even more firmness to the project because you're using a heavier weight of paper. So again, I just made those 2 scores and just did the folding and the burnishing to allow that here. So eventually what we will be doing is attaching this to the base sheet that we already cut, and it becomes your left-hand panel and part of your cover as well. So now I'm going to do the right side of the paneling, and for that sheet you want to cut you a sheet at 6 by 7.5, 6 by 7.5, and you're going to make 2 scores on that too. You're going to score that at 1/2 inch. So that's why you see me scoring a little more than just one time down. I'm scoring like several times because this paper is a bit thicker, and so I just want to make sure my scoring lines are there too. So I scored this at 1/2 inch, and now I'm going to score it at 3/4 of an inch. So now you can see that not only do I have that 1/2 inch flap to attach to the base of my paper, but I also have this 1/4 inch of a gusset that will allow me more space in my folio. So I'll fold and crease these down. And of course, because the paper is a bit thicker too, it can be somewhat trickier to fold those score lines down, so you kind of have to show it a little extra love to make sure that it's straight and creased the way you want it. Okay, so if I bring back in my base, the left hand side of the paper that we created with the fold, the creases in the gusset, and the right panel too, you can see how we're going to assemble that together. We're just going to add one and then add the other on top, and then it becomes your folio. So I'll go ahead and I'll assemble those. I'll just add glue to these little 1/2 inch flaps here, and I almost lost my words there, and then attach them here. Now, something I do, you guys have seen me do this before. I find that I really like doing this because let me see how I can explain this in the best way. So when you do it, you can certainly just glue this down, but what I find is when you glue it down, and I'm hoping that you can see it with my camera, my phone camera, you see how you can see that you have glued these 2 sheets together. If it'll go and zoom, if it'll blur, hopefully you can see it. I don't really care for that. I don't like that this part is showing as being attached to here. So that's another reason why, not just for the bulkiness of it, but that's another reason why I angle cut these little edges here, so that does not show when I assemble everything. So that as I say all the time, I think I may say it too much, but that is, again, just preference, but it's just something that I don't prefer to see when I assemble these projects together. And I didn't cut that right. Okay. And then, okay. So I just made those little angle cuts on here. You can see what I've done there. And so I'll attach this, I'll assemble all of this, and then we'll get started with our inside part of the folio. Okay, so I've gone ahead and glued all of my papers down. This was, again, the base page. That was 5.5 by 7.5. And so I just attached the 2 flaps here. This was the left panel, and this is the right panel. So then it just folds on top of each other and creates your folio. So as you saw in the designs that I showed previously, I had a front flap here. So if that's not to your preference, you can of course eliminate that step. But if you are going to include it, then that front panel, you can cut you a sheet that measures 4 1/4 by 7 1/2, and this paper is actually 65-pound weight paper, so that it's not the heavier cardstock that I used for the base. This is 65 pounds. So this is 4 1/4 by 7 1/2, and I'm going to score it on the 7 1/2 side. I'm going to be scoring that at 1/2 inch. Okay, so I scored that at 1/2 inch on the 7 1/2 side, and let me just cut off these edges. Crease this down. And then you're going to be attaching this to your front cover, and you want to center it so that it's right in the center of this front flap here. So I kind of just eyeball that. It usually ends up being about 1/4 inch on each side, so I'm just going to glue that down. So I'll try to center this as best I can on the page, the front cover page here, hoping that that glue gives me just enough time to straighten it out and make sure that it is all lining up properly. Okay, I think that's pretty straight and pretty centered. So I'll press that down. So now you can see that we now have this front flap in place, and then the book opens this way for your folio. Okay. So again, on the inside, on this left-hand panel, we had added another page here that that would be like that fold-out page, or that folded page that I said you could also choose to leave it flat and just let it be an extra page in your book. So I'm going to show you how we did that inside page here. Okay, so for our inside bonus page to our folio, we're going to take a sheet, and I'll move this over to the side. We're going to take a sheet that measures 6 1/8 by 7 1/2, 6 1/8 by 7 1/2. And on the 6 1/8 side, you are going to be scoring at 1/2 inch, and you're also going to score at 3 1/2 inches. Okay, and I'll go ahead and erase this so that it doesn't show up. The rest of the pencil marks are okay because we're going to cover all of that with paper, but just on the creasing part, I didn't want that to show up either. So again, we just scored at 1/2 inch and 3 1/2. And all that you're going to do is you're going to be folding this in a Mountain Valley fashion accordion style, so that when it fits into the book, you can add it, and it'll have that extra flap that goes back and forth for your page design too. So I'm folding the top flap under and creating that flap so that I can attach it to my booklet, and then I'm folding these. So we can attach this page inside of our folio, and you want to attach it just to the left of that score line. You don't want anything to interfere with that gusset here. You want your folio to be able to fold flat and properly, so you're just going to be just to the left of that that score line. So I'm going to just cut off the edges here as I normally do. Add some glue. I realized that I wonder if it would have been better for me to use the black paper in showing this instead of the white ones, because I want you guys to be able to see it properly. Hopefully everything is coming through, you're able to see it okay. But again, I'm just attaching that page just to the left of that score line. attaching that little 1/2 inch flap there, making sure all of my papers line up properly. Okay, perfect. So now you can see that you have this page assembled in here, and it opens that way. The flap is there. And again, if you didn't want this flap, you could choose to just make this just a straight page, and it'll fold back and forth. You'll still have that mechanism there, but I just like the visual interest that comes with having this folded page, and then the pockets here, and you know, all that you can do with your paper there. So that is the left panel. Now for the 2 pockets here, these were just 2 pockets that I cut that measured 4 by 4.5, scored them on 3 sides, and then attached them here and here. I can show you what that looks like after we cover the pages. I'll show you how I did that, and how I attached that on there too, but it's pretty much the basic pocket design. It's just 2 right there next to each other. So the middle portion, you notice it was a flap up top, and then it was a pocket at the bottom. So for the flap up top, you're going to need a page that measures 5 3/8 by 8 inches. 5 3/8 by 8 inches. And all you're going to do is one score. You're going to score this down the middle at 4 inches. So let's go ahead and do that. Right down the middle at 4 inches, and then I'll fold it. Let me erase some of these numbers here too. Writing the numbers on here kind of just helps me not get confused. I'm sure you guys probably have a better way of keeping all of your sheets together, but I do write it down too, but I kind of need the visual of it being in my face too, to make sure that I don't, you know, don't forget which page goes where and all that good stuff. So that just kind of helps me as a visual learner. So yes, so this page we scored it down the middle at 4 inches, and all that you're going to do is you're going to be adding this to the top of your booklet or your folio. You're going to add the fold side up. So that's a bit different, but you're going to be adding the fold side up. Now, if you do not need this to be a pocket, then you can glue the whole thing down to the project and just let it be there as a flip up page. However, if you'd like to do the pocket, then the only thing you need to do is just add glue to 3 sides. And then it will create a pocket in the middle that you could use for the folio that I had created in the previous project. So I'm going to still make mine to be a pocket. So I'm going to add it into the project just by adding the glue on the 3 sides that I just mentioned. So I'll do that. Okay, I've added glue to it, so I'm going to just add it to the top here. Try to stay centered and even. And it's important to stay centered too, because this back, the base of your project again is still at 5.5 by 7.5, but this flip page is 5 3/8. So that I did so that I could make sure that it did not interfere with any of the folding of the book, and that it would not interfere with any of those score lines or the gussets, that it would still fold properly. So now you can see that this is glued down on the 3 sides, but the top still has this pocket here, and it's not completely dry, so I want to give that a little bit more time to adhere. Okay, so then the bottom portion is a pocket, and it's just a standard pocket design that we normally do. So to do the pocket, you're going to need a sheet that measures 6 3/8 by 3/4 of an inch. And we're just going to score that 1/2 inch on 3 sides as we would normally do with the pocket. So I'll score that on 3 sides for 1/2 inch. And again, as we normally do with our pockets, I'm just gonna angle cut these corners here at the bottom, and then I take off those angles at the top. I'm gonna fold these flaps down and crease them. And then that becomes your pocket. So of course I don't want to glue this down as of yet because I don't have my design paper on there, so I'll just show you how it looks when you add it on here. This is just becomes the pocket. Once you adhere it down, you can do that. So what I have done before, and I can do it this time too, so that I just kind of have it in place, is I just glued down this bottom pocket, this bottom flap. So it still kind of adheres to the book, but it doesn't fully adhere, so that I can still add my design paper on there, and it'll still be hidden. So I just added glue to that bottom flap, and then I'll line this up to the bottom of the folio. Try to center it, because again, the pocket is just a little shy of the width of the base of the folio, so that it gives it that space to fold and not interfere with anything. So just want to make sure I have it all straightened and lined up right. Okay. So I just glued down this bottom panel, this bottom flap here. This is still open so that I can add my design paper onto this. And after I add it, then I will go ahead and glue the rest of the flaps down for the pocket. So we've already completed pretty much the base of the project. We have the middle part done with the flap, the pocket up top, the pocket at the bottom. We have the flap on this side, the extra bonus page, the folded page, or again, as you can choose to leave it flat. And then we have the inside of the cover panel. We have the front. We have the front flip. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and try to add some of my design paper on here, and then come back, because in order for me to do the pop-up feature with you, I need to have that design paper already down before I add the pop-up feature, and then I can show you how I did the pockets here, and we can glue the rest of the project down together too. Okay, so let me go ahead and add my design paper, and I'll be right back. Hello my friends, so I am back with the decorated project, and of course, as you know, it has not been just a couple of hours. This is a day later, because of course I filmed the first part of this video late last night, and while I was trying to decorate, I got super tired and sleepy and could not finish the project. So this is a day later, but this is now the partially completed project that we started yesterday, the folio. And so I'll just show you what it looks like as I have decorated it. So this is the cover, of course, and this again has the flip up portion, and this is the part that we're going to complete together. We're going to work on adding that little flower box here in the middle. We'll do that together in the final part of this tutorial. And so that's the flip part, and then of course it has the seam binding here, so I'll undo the seam binding. And so when you open it up, it has these pockets on the side, as it had as the other project demonstrated as well. The 2 pockets on the side. This is the flap. I added a small little envelope here, and then added a little booklet with room inside for journaling. I left the envelope open, and then I also made the envelope a pocket that has an extra tag here with a little pocket that I forgot to glue down, so I'll make sure I glue that down too. And then that just goes at the back here behind the envelope. That's a pocket. And then here I made a little tuck spot and just put a little tag there with a sticker that says "You Are Loved." And then opening here, I left this pretty blank. Now, one thing I did want to mention too, this decorating is a perfect project if you just have scraps. If you notice, I have decorated this in like a collage fashion because I only had scraps of this paper pack left. I had used it a long time ago, pulled out these scraps that I had and tried to figure out how I could decorate this project using just those scraps. So that's what I did. So that's why you see that all these different patterns here in different sizes, because it truly is just scraps that I've pieced together to decorate the folio. So if you have something like that laying around, you may have used most of a paper pack and you just have these scraps left, you might want to try using the scraps to do the decorating and just create collages on each of the pages, because it really is freeform. You can decide what sizes, what patterns you want to use, and they all complement each other really well because it all came together in one paper pack. So just a suggestion of something that you might want to try. I think it came out really nice, and I don't often do it. I usually use full sheets to decorate something, but I really wanted to use up those scraps as much as I could. So that's what I did with this part too. So, and then when you open it, it has the pocket just like the other project did. I inserted a lot of these journal cards that I had left over, and they're really pretty, and they can be used as, you know, photo mats or journaling spots. This flap lifts up just like it did in the previous portion, and then the bottom part still remains a pocket, and then the top part I left that as a pocket too, and then inside I put 2 tags and another journal card. So left that as a pocket up top too, and I'll put these back here. And then on the far right, I did an accordion like pocket situation here. So in the front pocket, let me just take this clip off because I was using this clip to hold everything together. So inside you'll see I put another card here. I created another journal card here. I'm actually going to glue that down on both sides so it can be like a little pocket. And then here is another booklet for a photo or for journaling. And then inside these are, it opens like this as an accordion like pocket there. So that was all I added extra to this side, to this project, because and it wasn't on the previous projects either, because I found that I had some extra space. And so I just wanted to try to use it to create another area for either journaling or photos or, you know, anything someone may want to use on the side here. So let me just add this clip back to the side so that the heart is showing. And that's pretty much it. So this is what the other side looks like, and then the back looks like this, and this is back to the front. So right now we are going to work on this flower box feature, and I was trying to look at the video that I previously did, and I was wondering to myself if I actually gave you guys a really good view of the flower box. I kind of think it needed a better shot, so I'm going to pull it up again and see if I can get it really in frame here. So this is how it looks when it stands up. And then in the inside is space there. You can see there's a space there. If someone wants to put something there, you can. But that's how it looks standing up like that. So we're going to create that together. Very, very simple. Amazingly simple, you guys. I mean, it pretty much doesn't take anything to make it. So let's make it together. So I've brought out my scoreboard. And all you're going to need is a single piece that measures 2.5 by 10.5. 2.5 by 10.5. And so we're just going to score it in several places, and then we'll make our folds and some cuts, and I'll show you how easy it is to assemble that flower box into your project. So the first score you're going to make is at 1/2 of an inch. Then you're going to score at 1 inch, then 1.5, half an inch, 1 inch, 1.5. Then you're going to go over to 5.5 inches, 6 inches, and then 6.5. So that's 5.5, 6, 6.5. And you're basically going to, oh, I'm sorry, one other score before I forget is you're going to switch, rotate your paper, and you're going to score at 1/2 inch. This serves as the bottom of your flower box. So 1/2 inch on the 2.5 inch side, you're going to score that. And that's all the scoring that you're doing. So again, you're only scoring at 1/2 inch, 1, 1.5, 5.5, 6, 6.5, and then rotate your sheet, and then 1/2 inch. So let's do our folds first, and then we have to do a little bit of cutting. So you're going to fold your first fold under, create a mountain. The next fold goes under, valley, and mountain. So you should end up with something that looks like this. Mountain, valley, mountain. So that's your score there. And I'll crease that down. Okay. The next one, the next set of scores you're doing the exact same thing. You're going to go mountain, valley, mountain. So you should end up with something that looks just like this. So you can already see how the box is coming to shape. Pretty simple, right? Okay. Then, of course, you want to make sure you fold that bottom score line in too. So let's fold that up and crease that down. Okay. So when you unfold it, unfold that bottom score or that bottom crease, you kind of see how your box is taking shape, but you can see how you have to cut out certain portions of that bottom score or that bottom flap in order for it to create the box shape. So you're going to be cutting out this section and the middle section of the sheet. So these 3 boxes that you see on the left here, you're going to cut those out, and these 2 boxes that you see in the middle, you're going to cut that out. Then you're going to angle cut the section that you're leaving in place. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So you count over these 1, 2, 3 boxes and then do an angle cut. And then you're cutting out the rest of it. So cut along that score line and cut out, and you should be left with that shape. So you did an angle cut and then you cut out those 3 boxes. Here in the middle, I'm going to do an angle cut to that first score line there, and then I'm going to do another angle cut here, and then cut along that score line. And you should be left with something that looks like this. So on the edge here also, I want to make sure I angle cut that as well, so that does not peek through. So this is the final result of what you're looking at. So folding all of those pieces back together, you'll find that you have a little flap here, and you want to use that flap to secure your box together. And then it will look like this. So let's secure our box down by adding a little bit of glue. So again, I'm adding glue to just this little flap here. Pushing those score lines together, and then trying to line this up so that my box comes together and it's fairly even. Thankfully, the glue gives me a little time to maneuver the paper so that it is even. And so now you can see how you have a box here with these folding sides that allows it to go flat into your project. So basically what you're going to do now is you're going to be gluing down these bottom flaps into your project. So let me bring my project back in. Sorry, I think I moved the camera there, but okay, so my project is back with me. And so if you open it up, you'll see this is where I want to put my flower box. So I'm going to decide what part I want is the front. It's kind of good that this is non-directional paper, so it kind of doesn't really matter. But basically what you're doing is you're lining up the edge of this bottom portion of your box with that score line at the bottom there too. So you want to push it against that score line, center it as best as you can, push it against that score line, hold it there, and then you're adding glue to that 1/2 inch flap that's at the bottom. So I'm just going to make sure I have this straight. I tend to not have things straight, so let me make sure that is straight. And then I'm going to add glue at the bottom portion here. And then bring that flap down, allow it to secure or hold it in place to allow that glue to secure for you. And then once you lift it up, you'll see that a portion of the box is in place. And so now you're just doing the same thing for the bottom of this other flap. And then fold your entire project down. And if after allowing a few moments of it to secure in place, you see that you now have a flower box here. And I think mine needs to settle for a little bit. So let me let that glue settle in for a little bit, and then we'll be back and I'll show you how I decorate it. So our flower box has been added to our project. I've added some of those flowers that came in the paper pack to it as well, and this is how it looks. You can see it's a pretty cool focal piece that you can have, visual interest that you can add to the folio to make it even nicer, because it even leaves room here for photos here as well as up top here, and then this just pops up in the middle. So it's a really cool pop-up feature that you can just add to a folio to make it kind of stand out a little bit more. I just backed things on a doily here. I had a green doily in my stash and just added best ever. That all came into the paper pack as well. And so this is the final view of our project here. This is the folio. I did add these little pieces of ephemera that was in the paper pack too, just added a little bit to that pocket. I wanted to put something else there. And so this is how it looks, again, with those two pockets on the side. This is our flat page. Our fold over page has a envelope pocket. This is how it folds out. Then you have these other two pages with a pocket, and then this is a flat page. I won't pull everything back out again since we already did an overview of the project too. So I'll bring in the other two that we previously did as well. Again, this is the one that didn't have the gusset, so it was pretty much flat on the sides there, no extra gusset, and it didn't have a pop-up or anything, so it would just be, you could use it as a photo mat to add photos here, but it's pretty much the rest of it is the same. And then this was our final one where we did it with the extra pop-up in the middle there as well. And then this is how it looked on the inside as well. So I won't go through that again, but I'm sure you guys remember how everything all looked together. So that is our final project. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial and all this little moving parts and all the variations of it. I try to give a little bit of options of things that you can do to make the project uniquely you, or something that you might prefer. So hopefully you might give it a try. I'd love to see in the comments what you guys' thoughts were on the project. I will put in the description the measurements of the papers so that it'll be easier for you to follow, be easier for you to make the project yourself. So hopefully you might give it a try. Again, I thank you so much for sticking with me through this project. This is probably a longer video, but thank you so much for sticking through it and hanging out with me. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, take care, everyone. Bye.